Hello and welcome to this new moon in Pisces video. My name is Sarah Waggle. I am an astrologer and a leadership or personal development coach. If you're new to me or new to my channel, new to my content, welcome. I appreciate you. Thanks for the subscription. Thanks for viewing, all of the things, the likes and all of that. I'm just really grateful and thankful that y'all come to my channel for support through this wacky time that we're living in. And if you're new to me, I am a blind astrologer. I'm legally blind. I have some usable vision. I've also been a blind nomad. So I've traveled the United States quite a bit as a house sitter and pet sitter, and just done a lot of other random retreats and whatnot traveling. And so we're going to talk about this new moon in Pisces and a lot about this March month and whatnot. This new moon's going to peak on March 10th, 2024. And so let's get into the energy of all of this. Of course, we always start with the energetic overview, and I don't know about the rest of y'all, but this Pisces season has felt very heavy, very intense, very weighted. People are going through a lot of change in their lives. People are doing a lot of things to change their lives and whatnot. And I think one of the things that I really want to say about March is kind of a precursor or a pre-show to April, and April is loaded with some potentially catapulting transits, but we're kind of in preparation mode. Pisces is the last zodiac sign of the astrological year, so it's kind of a closing. It's also the last month of winter, and so it's, we're preparing the soil, as a farmer would say. You're preparing the soil. If you think about the song "The Rose," sung by Bette Midler, it's what happens underneath the snow and the frozen ground that prepares us. And so if you're feeling like you need to be within, or you're feeling like you really need to do some self-discovery work, or even soothe your inner child, I feel like now is a good time to do that. I do say, though, that with the caveat of if you're comforting yourself with I'll say mind-altering substances, alcohol, or other type of things. This is probably, and I say this a lot with Neptune and Pisces, this is really a good time to get sober, because there's a lot of confusion. I even notice it with other practitioners that I connect with or colleagues that I work with that, we're all just like, how come we can't get it? We're all just making like the craziest little mistakes that we all know better than to make, but we've been making all kinds of like scheduling mistakes or, saying the wrong date, like little tiny mistakes. And there's like the big mistakes that affect our businesses or our work. And I just feel like we're all in a perpetual mind fog, and that we're all just not keeping it straight. And that's okay, because we're all going through whatever level of this you're going through. So, of course, be compassionate to yourself, be compassionate with others. Remember that if you're tuning into this, you may have some level of emotional intelligence, but not a lot of people have emotional intelligence or even know what that means. And so, they're acting erratically, or they're acting irrationally, or, perhaps it's something being projected on you. It's coming from them. It's coming from whatever they're going through that they are not addressing. That's my opinion, but that's typically the case when people start doing transformation work or self-improvement work, is the people around them are not, and it's hard to be in their presence, but it's also hard to, I'll just leave it at hard to be in their presence. But so be compassionate with yourself. And I know I've been dragging ass on getting videos done and whatnot. I've also added projects and added commitments to my calendar. And so, be compassionate with yourself, be compassionate with other people, ignore little mistakes because we're all making them and it's okay. Okay. We then have like things may feel foggy. Yep, I kind of just pointed to that. And so, be clear with yours. Also, like, don't be afraid to set reminders, set timers, things like that to keep yourself accountable and accurate as you can. We are being flooded with light, and most of us are not used to having this much light. So what happens when we add light to what has been a dark existence, right? Most of us are used to complaining. We're used to life sucks, life is suffering. Now we're being flooded with light and we can see the shadows, right? What's the movie? And I've never seen it, but like what's hidden in the shadows or something? I don't know. It's like a vampire movie. I've never seen it, but I know I've heard the title. But like, think about that. Like the dark can't survive the light, but we still see the shadows. And with Pluto moving into Aquarius, the personal planets all conjuncted Pluto in Aquarius, at 0 degrees Aquarius. So a lot of stuff got brought up to the surface. And now we are in Pisces season, and the personal planets, not all of them have moved in, but will all move into Pisces. It's a spiritual opportunity to address all of the stuff that's been brought to the surface. Okay, surprises, unexpected changes, whether they are, quote, good or bad, is all dependent on how you respond to the situation, your adaptability, your flexibility. Because we have planets moving through Aquarius, we have planets making aspects to Uranus, who is the ruler of Aquarius. And that just points to rebelliousness, revolutions or revolting. But it's all about you. It could be good. It could be good. Like, you could get a job opportunity. You could get like a relationship opportunity, a financial opportunity. It's all in how you adapt. If your job is complete in one field or industry, perhaps you get to pursue that other thing you've always wanted to pursue. If you're anything like me, you've got 900 bazillion hobbies and interests. So, I can, be cooking 1 minute and reading an astrology chart the next. It's not uncommon. And I'm also a crocheter. I'm a reader. I love different podcasts and things like that. So anyway, my point is like, you get to entertain all these different parts of yourself, which makes the unexpected, unpredictable surprises worthwhile because, now I get to do this thing. Or, okay, now I get to focus some time and energy on that thing that I love doing, right? Like I love to build furniture. It's just a thing. I love to do it. It's so much fun. It was way more fun when they had written instructions and not picture instructions, but hey, what you gonna do? But when I get the opportunity to build furniture, I'm just happy as a lark. I'm literally like over the moon. It's maybe too entertaining and I get frustrated, but I still love it. Okay, moving right along. Expansion, gratitude, know the universe has you, right? This points to that like complaining life that we're all kind of used to living, that suffering life. And now we're being asked to find the gratitude in the shit we've been through in life. And so I've had quite a number of people reach out to me in the last month about entering into, inner child trauma therapy, learning to love themselves, learning to cater their abandonment wounds, and things like that. And finding gratitude in the fact that these things are available, knowing that they're expanding us, knowing that the universe has us. God's got you. We're all going to get through this. All right. And then, of course, my tagline, you are here in this time and in this space for a unique purpose. I 1,000,000% believe in this. I think we're all here for a purpose. Now, I will say this is such a personal line for me because for many, many years of my life, I had no clue why I was here and why I was meant to go through half the crap I've been through. And I didn't want to be here. So now I'm here and I do what I do and I freaking love what I do. And whatnot. And that doesn't mean that I don't drag ass sometimes to get content done, read charts and whatever. It just means that I know it's my purpose and my ego gets in the way of my own growth. Happens for all of us. It's okay. And of course, you can see my practical tools for 2024 video, really focusing on grounding your nervous system, caring for yourself, self-discovery, creating abundance, things like that. And I talk about crystals, oils, and other types of tools that you can use. I may do another one of these halfway through the year. We'll see how it plays out. But I do feel like the one that I did in January is still accurate. So anywho, that's the energy signature that we're working with in this time and space. All right, here are some of the transits. Of course, as always, this is not an exhaustive list, but it is a pretty chunky list. I think I said it in the previous slide. I'm gonna keep saying it, and I have another slide here that I added that'll kind of dive into this deeper. But March is preparation for April. Now, I'm not the astrologer that's going to say that if you don't take advantage of this, you're screwed, you're fucked, your life is over, blah, blah. No. I don't believe that at all. What I do believe that as we study astrology, as we understand astrology and personal development, we have times when we have opportunities to release something old, purge something old, outdated, and allow something new to come in. And March to April is a really prime opportunity to take advantage of that which may come up for you to purge, so that you can allow space in your body, in your nervous system, in your mind, in your spiritual body, in your energetic body, to allow something new to come in and launch you to the next level. So anyway, before we get to April, let's get through March. But that's what I'm alluding to, is that this is a pivotal month to prepare yourself. So on March 9th, we had Mars square Uranus. Again, this is accident prone. This is surprises, unexpected opportunities, but also unexpected, I don't want to say catastrophes, but like definitely accidents can happen. So be careful, be conscientious, be slow. Things could break, things like that. Uranus does rule joints because Uranus is Aquarius. Aquarius rules joints like wrists and ankles. And so be conscientious of your footing, be conscientious of, just your movements around March 9th. March 8th, we have Mercury conjunct Neptune. Mercury is the mind. Neptune is spirituality. Neptune is illusion. And so this could be super creative and give you a creative punch. This is also a day that, even if you don't choose a sober lifestyle, to be sober, or it's a day to do like mind altering things and tune into that creative trip. There we go. Creative trip that could be available for you. It's just a day to be kind of careful, because we, of course, this is happening on March 8th, and then we have the Mars Uranus square on the 9th leading up to a new moon. So, it's a dark energy. It's a sluggish energy. It could be a day to just really open your mind to the creative potentials that may be coming up for you. March 9th through May 15th is Mercury in Aries, including the retrograde, which is from April 1st through the 25th. And I did look, it will begin its retrograde shadow on the 17th, conjunct the North Node, and it will retrograde back. I don't remember the date. Well, I guess it would be the 25th, wouldn't it, if I look at my own slide? And it will conjunct the North Node again. So Mercury in the North Node in Aries. This is kind of going to be a taste of Aries season. And one of the reasons why April and Aries season is going to be a pretty potent month is because Mercury retrograde. I know we all don't like it. I got to tell you though, I have some clients who absolutely thrive around a Mercury retrograde, particularly when Mercury stations retrograde and when Mercury stations direct. So I can't say bad things about Mercury retrograde anymore. Also, when any planet goes retrograde, it's an opportunity to slow the hell down and conscientiously be present in your life. Maybe get off social media, maybe take a break from all your social commitments, maybe take some more time to write and get things out of your mind. I don't know, however that kind of shows up for you. But so we'll have Mercury in Aries for a couple months here, and this will be the first planet to go retrograde in 2024. I believe Pluto will go retrograde sometime in May, but I don't remember the date offhand. But most of the rest of the planets do not go retrograde until later in June. So if you are loving the ride of planets direct and life is zippy and buzzy and all those things, keep enjoying it. It's going to be here for a while. If you're not enjoying it, I would tune into whatever is within you that's resisting change, because that's what's happening, is a lot of change. So if you're resisting change, then that may be something to explore. And of course, as always, get support as you need it. March 11th through April 4th, Venus exalted in Pisces. This is going to be cool. It'll obviously be like 3 days after that Mercury Neptune conjunction. And so, Venus in Pisces, it's dreamy, it's creative, it's feminine, it's wavy, it's all the fun things. It's also an opportunity to, set some things in motion creatively, tune into your creative potential, all of those things. On the 20th, it's going to conjunct Saturn. So this could be like being responsible about your projects, relationships, whatever. Like this could be what gets people to stop dragging ass. I know I've been dragging ass lately, just being super like not wanting to do my work and projects and whatnot. And I feel like this transit Venus conjunct Saturn could be like the ass kicking to actually do the creative stuff, to actually be responsible in relationships. Maybe that's the day that you sit down and have a conversation with your partner, your significant other, your friends, your boss, however that shows up for you. Maybe this is that opportunity to be responsible about setting up the finances to pursue a project. Like, what do you need to clean up in your finances to, publish your art, publish your book? What do you need to do to upgrade your website? This could be about that with the Saturn Venus conjunction on March 20th. So love that. That could be good. Of course, there will always be resistance around it because that's how we are as humans. March 17th, Sun Neptune Day. This is a really cool day, but it could be very dreamy, very illusioned, all of that. Also, that Mercury conjunct Neptune, media, because Neptune rules the media. So on March 8th, that Mercury Neptune thing, the media could be up to some shenanigans, as they always are. The media is such a crock. Anyway, okay. April has a number of loaded transits. So however you purge and set yourself up in the month of March could open doors wide fucking open in April for amazing shit to happen. So let me go on to the next slide. I have a lot to say about this. So let's go there. Okay, I added this slide as much a reminder to myself as to y'all that love brings about love, hate brings about hate, compassion brings about compassion, forgiveness opens space in your being to move you forward. It gives you momentum. And unfelt or unhealed emotions or unexpressed emotions do store in your body. And of course, disclaimer, I'm not a medical professional. I'm just an astrologer and a spiritual worker. But okay, so love brings about love. The more you love yourself, the more you love your shadow side, the more you appreciate you, the more you are able to embrace the dark parts of yourself and be like, yep, that's just how I am. And I'm constantly working on that, but not there yet. But you can love that part of you. And however that shows up, hate brings about hate. We know this. If you're somebody who is, hates something or whatever, it's, it's just going to keep that negative juju going, and whatnot. So, and then compassion brings about compassion. And we show compassion to other people, you're going to see more compassion in the world. And the thing is these are all a frequency. Love, hate, compassion, these are a frequency. You have like that emotional frequency scale, and love and compassion are higher frequency emotions than hate, and so, or anger or sadness or whatever. And of course you have to experience both ends of the spectrum, right? You got to experience anger or sadness to understand love. You've got to experience, embracing everyone, or experience hate in order to understand embracing everyone. You've got to be able to, be, incompassionate, uncompassionate? I don't know the word there, sorry. To understand compassion, right? Like if you're rigid and, can't feel other people's feelings, which is what compassion is, then, people aren't going to feel for you or anything like that. So, and then forgiveness opens up the space for, forward momentum and all of that. Doesn't matter what you haven't forgiven. It's holding up space in your mental body, your emotional body, which is holding you from going forward. And so, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you can't figure it out, or you can't, whatever, you don't know what the next thing is. And this could even be self-forgiveness. There's time, when we've gone through like a healing journey, you look back at yourself and you're like, damn, that was embarrassing, or I can't believe I was that way. But, go back and forgive that former version of you who, wasn't where you are and didn't have the emotional intelligence or the emotional capacity where you are now. Look back at her or him and be like, yeah, I get you. It's okay. It's all good, and maybe this is a parent situation where, I've had a lot of people recently, going through some, abandonment or learning to self-parent their inner child, and, forgiving that parent or that, whatever situation it was for you, and just forgiving, being able to forgive that person or that thing, whatever it was. It opens up space for you to allow in what's next for you. Unexpressed, unfelt emotions do store up in your body. Again, not a medical professional, but this is, there is a book called The Body Keeps the Score. I know there's another book by Joe Dispenza that is not coming to me in this moment, but we hold on to these emotions because typically when we're not expressing emotions, we're just kind of clinging to them. And there's nothing wrong with this. Like, I'm not wronging anybody here. I'm simply suggesting that this is how deep I feel like this Pisces season is going. It's really, the universe is really asking you, nudging you, maybe even pushing you to let go of whatever's in the way of you fully stepping into your brilliance, your beauty, your expression, your creativity, your artistry, your whatever it is. Maybe it's the love of your life waiting on the other side of you letting go of or forgiving yourself for getting into bad relationships previously. Maybe it's just unexpressed emotion that's like stored up in a part of your body, and as soon as you kind of let the tears flow, let the anger flow, it releases that energy within your physical system. So, and then you can step into being more compassionate when someone, when the next person comes to you and is like, what am I experiencing? Why am I experiencing this? And whatnot. So I hope this makes some sense. I hope this kind of gives you an idea of like the depth of this Pisces season. I feel like March is such a pivotal month to let a lot of gunk out of our bodies, out of our systems, so that we can indeed utilize fully the Aries season ahead of us to really launch into the next chapter, or even maybe it's the next book, or the next, the sequel, however you define that for you, right? For yourself. So I hope this was helpful. All right, here we have the chart for this new moon. It's happening at 20 degrees of Pisces, and it peaks on March 10th at 3:55 in the a.m. So overnight, March 9th into the 10th. And I think what's interesting and important to point out is that we have planets in Aquarius, which is the 11th sign of the zodiac. We have planets piling up in Pisces, which is the 12th sign of the zodiac. We then have planets in point rather in Aries, which is the first sign of the zodiac, and we have planets in Taurus, which is the second sign of the zodiac. We have this massive ending prior to or leading into a big beginning. And Aries is going to be an eclipse on April 8th. So this is the last new moon before the eclipse. We, of course, just had Mercury conjunct Neptune, and it has moved into Aries. Well, it will be where it will be until May 15th because it will retrograde. And throughout the rest of March, we will have Venus and then Mars move into Pisces, leaving Pluto at 1 degree. I think Pluto gets to 2 degrees of Aquarius before it retrogrades in early May. So aside from the South Node in Libra being a point on the opposite side of the zodiac, we are all concentrated here at endings and beginnings, making this a massive purge or offloading, releasing old ways of being to welcome in or allow space for newness that will start popping in April. And so this is almost the most symbolic, end of the winter into spring, you could ever imagine astrologically. But also remember that Pisces rather, is illusions. It's also creativity. It's also dreaminess. It's angelic. It represents duality and spirituality, but it also represents spirits, as in alcoholic beverages. And so, it's one of those signs that you could really float away on the current of the watery cloudiness of Pisces. It is represented by the fish. And so there's that. I like that Saturn is here, and I don't like that Saturn is here, because Saturn is bringing a level of confusion because it's bringing discipline and restriction to the mix. And I like that because it's be disciplined in your spiritual practices, but also you may be restricted because there's so much else to go, to do, and that's going on and changing and all of the things. So, that could be a thing. And I think there's a finding balance within it all of your, spiritual practices and whatnot. So that's this new moon. It's a doozy in that it's the last new moon prior to the lunar eclipse on March 25th, and then the solar eclipse, the Great American Eclipse, that will be on April 8th. And, right around that April 8th eclipse, we definitely have some loaded transits happening. Not only around that eclipse, but then shortly thereafter, we will have this conjunction between Jupiter and Uranus. So there's this is kind of what I mean by there's a lot of opportunity to catapult yourself in April and into May when you are able to release whatever needs to be released at the end of this Pisces season, and the end of this zodiacal year. So really be attentive to that as you're setting your intentions, and journaling, and having your new moon ritual, however that goes for you. Take some time for meditation. Take some time to have a daydream and feel into what that would look like. You've got the support of Pluto and Mars and Venus still in Aquarius to be rebellious in sort of a mischievous way, as harmless rebellion. Granted, there's probably going to be some extreme rebellion over the next 20 years, but it doesn't mean that what you're doing is extreme rebellion. You could just be doing something that people don't like you doing, and that's okay too. I think this is just such an opportunity. I'm such a fan of Aquarius energy, because it's like permission to be yourself, and who cares what other people think. But also, there's that being able to, I'm an astrologer, but then I go hang out with my family, and that is not what we talk about at the card table or the dinner table is astrology. They're not into it. So you kind of got to meet people, and that took me years of practice to be able to show up to my family and or friend groups, and not talk about personal development, astrology, and all of the things. That wasn't just an overnight thing. That took me a long time to really come to terms with. And so no matter where your journey is, everyone's journey is different. So just keep that in mind. But anyway, I love this moon, but I also think it's a really, it's very intense, and it's a very deep, as in it's kind of like deep in our psyches, deep in our systems, our mental systems, as far as, and emotional systems, as far as the cleansing and the rooted reset that it's offering. So just think of yourself as the rose, or any other plant that you love and appreciate, planted underneath the frozen ground, and your roots are preparing you with a solid foundation for what is to come in Aries and the next zodiacal year. So there you go. Of course, we've got our lunation cycle that we're in. Of course, this new moon's happening on March 10th. Is the new moon in Pisces. On the 16th, we'll have the first quarter square moon in Gemini. And then we will have the full moon lunar eclipse at 5 degrees of Libra. So we're back into eclipse season by the end of this month. On the 1st of April, we have the third quarter square moon in Capricorn. That's also the day that Mercury goes retrograde until April 25th. And so then on the 5th, we have the balsamic or darkening moon in Pisces. The energy is going to thicken up as we get into this April 8th new moon solar eclipse at 19 degrees of Aries conjunct Chiron. This is a doozy of a transit. It's a doozy. It's coming through the United States. It'll be visible in my hometown. We're having a, what are they calling it? Total eclipse of the heartland? I don't know. I did not come up with it. I'm just volunteering for the party. But I mean, this is where Chiron can be a thing. I'm hearing a couple of older, and by older, I mean they've been in the field of astrology longer than me. They may not be that much older than me because I'm kind of old getting into astrology. But I'm hearing people talk more about Chiron being the teacher, as opposed to being the wounded healer, right? Because then we focus on the wounds. But if we think about Chiron as a teacher, he taught in Greek mythology. He taught. And so what, depending on where your Chiron placement is what you're meant to teach or educate or higher learn about. Okay. So that's on April 8th is that solar eclipse. And then on the 15th, we have the first quarter square moon at 26 Cancer. And then the full moon at 4 degrees of Scorpio. That is on April 23rd. It's at 4 degrees Scorpio. Thank the Lord, it is not anywhere near my Scorpio. Actually, it's right on my rising, now that I think about it. So if many of you know, I'm a huge fan of love-hating a Scorpio moon. But Scorpio is transformative. It's it's an investigator. It's got to know the answer, all of that. And in fact, at 4 degrees of Scorpio, it'll be close, maybe within like 2 degrees of squaring Pluto in Aquarius. I think Pluto in Aquarius will be at 2 degrees by then. And so it'll be within a 2-degree orb of squaring Pluto in Aquarius. That could be intense as hell, globally speaking, and or transformative. So, I mean, that's the thing, is we've got tons of transformative opportunities here throughout the next month and a half or so. And like I've said, we've got all planets minus Mercury direct until May and into late June before the outer planets start going retrograde. So we've got a lot of buzzy forward momentum, changing energy between now and, May, June, before things start to kind of slow down with the planets in retrograde. So there's a lot going on. And there's a lot going on in our personal lives. There's a lot going on the global stage, on the media stage, shit coming out of the woodwork, changes in leaderships and things like that. So yeah, that's the thing. Anyway, that's the lunation cycle. Let's move on. All right. And of course, my usual, but always the thing that I appreciate saying the most is thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate you. I know we're all going through a lot of crazy shit right now, whether it's in our personal lives, whether it's going on the media or hijinks within geopolitical stuff. I know there's just a ton going on. So, I love that you guys take the time to come over here and watch my videos and whatnot. You can follow me on socials, but honestly, I'm not very active on socials right now. I'm really trying to do a lot of different things with astrology stuff. Of course, I did a community post on Casey Kasem's chart. Hopefully y'all got to see that. I did find out his North Node is in Pisces. I knew he had a Pisces placement somewhere. I am going to be doing a video series starting in Aries season. I am super excited about. I'm also not sharing anything about it. It's going to be a surprise. The only person who knows anything is my mom. And my mom ain't telling nobody. My mom's probably the biggest secret keeper that I know. Anyway, which is good because I'm not. So, but I will be doing that video series on YouTube and on TikTok. Also probably on Instagram. I love Instagram, but honestly I have a bigger community following on YouTube and on TikTok. But whatever, I just kind of go with the flow. The only app I really don't like is Facebook, and that's where all my friends and family are. So that's why I stay there. But I don't know. I also use Facebook Messenger a lot. But anyway, I digress. You can always book with me, basic sun, moon, rising charts. I'm also wanting to do an offer where instead of paying me directly, you guys can get your chart read and then purchase something for me off of my Amazon wish list because I have it, and why not? And maybe you want to buy me something versus paying me, and that's okay. I've got tarot decks there, oracle decks there. I've got household items there and things like that are in that list. And so if that's something you're into, drop me a comment, let me know. Of course, thanks for tuning in to the Hearts Unleashed podcast, where my guest appearance, Breaking Up With Your Victimhood. I think that podcast is up to 81,000 downloads. And she is on season 7 of it. This is my friend Abigail Gazda, who's been my coach, my colleague, my writing coach, all of the things. I am in the process of writing my second book. And so she'll also likely be who I publish through with Hearts Unleashed House Publishing. Likely. I have not been approved for either book to be published with Hearts Unleashed, and she still could say no, and I have to, do it a different way, and that's okay. There also may be a possibility that I self-publish my fictional narrative that I wrote in 2021. So anyway, books coming out hopefully in the next year or two. I'm publishing 2 books. and whatnot. And one is a fictional narrative, the other one is more of a guidance book that I am currently writing. Of course, you can join me over on the Awakening Spirit Collective. I've partnered with several other spiritual practitioners to support people in the ascension or awakening or awareness journey, however you would like to look at it. And I publish videos there twice a month. One is a zodiacal season overview. The other is a bonus video where I have been talking about some of the basics of understanding cycles and patterns in astrology. So that's happening. And of course, thank y'all so much for being here. I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming over here. I know the world is crazy. Life is crazy that you take the time to come over and watch my videos. I'm just thankful, and I appreciate you. And I'm not, I'm pretty real over here, doing these videos, and I appreciate that you like that about me. I am somebody who does not like to be what I'm not. And, I'm learning as I go, and I appreciate you being here with me on my journey to produce videos and, change them up and whatnot. And so anyway, on to the sun signs we go. All right, Aries, this is your forecast for the Pisces new moon on March 10th, 2024. This is for Aries, Sun, and Rising. All right, Aries, this new moon in Pisces on March 10th is happening in your 12th house. This is karmic cycles, past life stuff, spirituality, and whatnot. Aries, you have the biggest opportunity to catapult your life in a whole new direction in April with the April 8th solar eclipse. So I feel like this is a very big ending for you. You're disrupting a pattern in your life. You're changing the way you go about things, probably in various patterns that you're choosing not to repeat anymore. Of course, that Virgo full moon back on February 25th, that was it, was in your 6th house. Wow. It was a very loud engine outside, and I have my windows closed. It was in your 6th house of daily patterns and routines. So something came up for you potentially in that full moon that now you're seeing like the pattern that needs to stop or that needs to break up. And in order for you to move forward in whatever direction you want to, coming into the eclipse season next month. And so we got the Angel Tarot here. If I can get the magnifier to do magnifier things. And I always read these right side up. I don't feel like they align to be read in reverse. And this is the King of Water, which is trustworthy, compassionate, respected, and cultured. And this being the King of Water, it's represented by mermaids. That's how this deck works. And it says at the bottom, open your heart and mind to those around you. Trust to those around you, trustworthy and heartfelt about charity, about charity, work. King of Water. I mean, Aries is the most selfish sign of the zodiac. That's a compliment in this case. You're very, very self-centered, And maybe it's time that you open yourself up to volunteer opportunities, or just how you present yourself to the world. Maybe you don't want to be like the most self-centered person in your immediate circle. Maybe you want to be more a part of community organizations and whatnot. Pluto and Aquarius is in your 11th house of groups and communities and whatnot. And that Virgo full moon would have been in your 6th house, which is about being of service. And so, maybe this is just a disruption in, being completely self-absorbed and self-centered. Again, I mean that as a compliment. But embracing the idea that you can be a part of a community support organization of some type or another. So that's what I have for Aries. Taurus, this is your forecast for the Pisces new moon on March 10th, 2024. This is for Taurus, Sun, and Rising. Okay, Taurus, this new moon in Pisces is happening in your 11th house of groups, communities, and technology. I think it's important to keep in mind that Pluto's in your 10th, which is all about career and public achievement. And that full moon in Virgo would have been in your 5th house of creativity, heart-centered, childlike playfulness, those sorts of things. And I think it's appropriate. I already this is what happens when Sarah tries new things is I'm gonna record things multiple times and it's gonna have to just be okay. You got the Ace of Fire, which is the new career, new opportunity. I think this is really an opportunity for you to capitalize on Jupiter being in your sign. Fire is represented as dragons in this deck. And I think this is like perfect because obviously we're in the year of the dragon, but also with the eclipses coming up, they will be in your 6th and 12th house of, changing up your daily routine and being of service and breaking up karmic cycles and things like that. And so you have that kind of to look forward to as far as like opening yourself up to an innovative new career or advancement in your current career and or trying some new technology, embracing some new technology in order to bring yourself to the next level of your public goals. So that's what I have for Taurus. Gemini, this is your forecast for the Pisces new moon on March 10th, 2024. This is for Gemini, Sun, and Rising. Gemini, so this new moon in Pisces is happening in your 10th house of public achievement, career, and whatnot. And the Virgo full moon would have been in your 4th house, all about like emotional intelligence, maternal things, home and foundation and whatnot. And the eclipses will be in your 5th and 10th house. And oops, I think I said that wrong. 5th and 11th. And so I feel like, first of all, that you could be moving around a lot or advancing your education because you have Pluto in the 9th. And so I feel like with this new moon, like it's this opportunity to feel your way through career opportunities, feel your way through of how you want to like go about your next level achievements. And potentially where you would want to move to if you were going to move somewhere. um, and then just be open to the potential like creative endeavors that come about. And for you, we have the Empress, which is Archangel Gabriel. And this card says, lavish abundance, give birth to new dreams, nurture nurture yourself and others. Yeah. And if you think about it, like Pisces is about dreams, and by the end of May, Jupiter is going to move into your sign, is going to move into Gemini. And so, I think this is an opportunity for you to kind of like lay the foundation with this Pisces new moon to set the stage for Jupiter coming into Gemini later this year. And this could be a really fun time for you to really expand yourself and really like, I don't know, come into a whole new level of how you present yourself to the world, how you publicly achieve or what you want to achieve as far as public recognition, and whatnot. So I really like this for Gemini, and I hope you enjoy this new moon. Cancer, this is your forecast for the new moon in Pisces on March 10th, 2024. This is for Cancer, Sun, and Rising. All right, Cancers, this new moon in Pisces is going to be in your ninth house of advancement, higher education, change, your belief systems, religious systems. I feel like I don't have my, there we go. Dusting my desk. Um, Belief systems, whatnot. The Virgo full moon would have been in your third house of written communication, mindset shifting, and all of that. So something's already been coming up for you that now may be clearing for you to pursue higher education. Maybe you're shifting your belief systems and whatnot. The upcoming eclipses are going to be in your what did I say? I just had it in my head. I just had it in my head. Um, Fourth house, fourth and 10th. There we go. I knew I would get to it. Fourth and 10th. So you're going to have this balance between your home life and your career life. And likely that has to do with whatever you are setting an intention for around this new moon in Pisces in your ninth house. And you also want to keep in mind that Pluto's in your eighth house, which is all about financial merging. So maybe you're dealing with some financing around going back to college, or seeking higher education, or maybe you are wanting to travel long distance, and so there may be some financing around that. And so I feel like there's a lot of like just growth happening for Cancers, and that they will be moving forward potentially in a brand new direction that maybe they didn't see coming, or maybe you've had it in your mind for a really long time that you've been wanting to change some stuff up for you. And you got the Seven of Earth, and I believe Earth is represented by fairies in this deck. And this says, yeah, seeds will be planted, a temporary pause in action or unnecessary worry. So you may be freaking out about expressing this. Maybe you're freaking out about asking for the money. Maybe you're freaking out because you're going to move or travel, and this might be upsetting to your immediate people. So yeah, I feel like this is not necessary, because if you just express how you feel or where you want to go, or your belief system shift or your higher education potentials, all of these things, like if you express them to those around you, I think they're going to understand. And if they don't, maybe they're not your people. That's always an option. Anyway, that's what I have for you, Cancers. Talk to you next time. Leo, this is your forecast for the new moon in Pisces on March 10th, 2024. This is for Leo, Sun, and Rising. All right, Leos, this Pisces new moon is happening in your eighth house. of financial mergings and whatnot. Of course, you have Pluto in your seventh house of relationships. The Virgo full moon would have been in your second house of your self-worth and your value. And I feel like that whatever came up and out during that full moon is now leading to you making a choice in who you share finances with or who you share intimacy with, and whatnot. The eclipse is coming up, will be in your third house and then in your ninth house. And so there could be some communication around, the higher education or long distance travel, something to that effect coming up for you. And maybe it's, you accepting the fact that you do want to travel long distance and how to go about making that happen. And perhaps this eighth house new moon in Pisces is going to, open up an opportunity for you to, merge with the right people that can support you in your next level up of travel or higher education or, becoming a professor, or shifting your belief systems. Maybe it's just a whole new ball game for Leos out there. And Leos, you got the seven of air. Air is represented by unicorns in this deck. And this says plans that need revision. I think that says move. Move going on. More going on than meets the eye. And poor timing. More going on that meets the eye. Something's hidden. Maybe it's more going on with you than meets the eye. Like people don't know what you're actually going through, because you're just not sharing with the people that you need to share with, of what you're actually for real going through. And that's kind of keeping your wings clipped a bit and keeping you keeping you, I don't want to say grounded, but keeping you small. Keeping you from really going forth with what you want to actually pursue and what you want to do. Like I said, more than meets the eye, that really speaks to me. Like, there's just some reason why deep within yourself that, and this is a moment where like maybe whomever you are intimate with, really wants to go somewhere and you're not there yet. You're not in a place where you can, whether it's financial or maybe there's like an anxiety or something, or some sort of limitation that you have within yourself. And so I feel like with this, and with what's coming in the near future for you, Leo, I feel like this is an opportunity to express and or maybe even face the healing or like the trauma around whatever it is that's keeping you keeping you small, keeping you maybe safe, instead of like getting out there and being a damn Leo. All right, Leo, that's what I got. Virgo, this is your forecast for the new moon in Pisces on March 10th, 2024. This is for Virgo, sun and rising. All right, Virgos, this new moon in Pisces is happening in your seventh house, which is partnerships, relationships, balance, those sorts of things. And, with Pluto in your sixth house in Aquarius, you really could be having some transformation around work-life balance, around like your daily routines and who you associate with, not only from work, but like what kind of friendships do you have and what are your relationships like? And that Virgo full moon would have been in your first house and how you show up and who are you in relationships. And I feel like, Virgo, you're the ultimate self-critic as well as like the you know, I could see a Virgo like going into somebody's house and it's not like perfectly organized and they're like that OCD person that can't handle being in the house that the toilet paper is on the wrong way, in their opinion. Um, but how is that affecting your relationships, your partnerships, the people that you spend time around? Are you, it just, are you constantly like being their critic? And maybe it's time to like, balance that out with just being a friend, being a cool person that can accept that and whatnot. The eclipses coming up will be in your second house and then your eighth house. So second house would be around self-worth. And then eighth house would be around financial mergings and or taxes. Oddly enough, that eclipse is in April. This could also be some sort of like spirit, like because it's merging, it's more of like that deeper connection to others. And so I feel like, maybe there's some hiccups that a Virgo needs to go through or release or let go of in order to like have deeper connections with the people in their life. Maybe there's some financial stuff coming up. We got the nine of earth. Earth is represented by dragons in this deck. Notably, we are in the year of the dragon, so I think that's appropriate. Um, it says enjoying life's little luxuries, spending quiet time alone. And successful self-employment. Ooh, I know some Virgo risings who are going to love that I just said that. Uh, successful self-employment. So I think like I really would invite you to like search into the spiritual meaning of the dragon and see what the dragon is all about. Maybe even look into the Chinese zodiac to see what the year of the dragon can bring for you. Maybe even find out what year you are, what year, because the Chinese zodiac works by year. And so maybe find out what year of animal you are and see what's happening for that animal and in this year of the dragon. But I feel like this could be very prosperous for Virgos. I know, like I said, I know some Virgos who have been wanting to pursue self-employment and have wanted to, but in order to do that, like it's kind of like stop being your own worst critic and stop like thinking that like everything's, working against you and everything needs to be like perfect and everything and OCDing everything and it has to go my way and all of those things. Like that's some kind of stuff that like a Virgo probably needs to let go of or at least like put aside for the time being so that you can actually pursue the shit you want to pursue. So love this for Virgos. Very excited to see what some Virgos are think of this particular reading. All right, see you next time, Virgo. Libra, this is your forecast for the new moon in Pisces on March 10th, 2024. This is for Libra, Sun, and Rising. All right, Libra, this new moon in Pisces is happening in your sixth house, daily routines, health habits, and whatnot. That Virgo full moon back on February 24th would have been in your 12th house. And with eclipses coming up in your first house and your seventh house, it's kind of like, readjusting your routines, your habits, your health, and to connect yourself to yourself so that you can be in new relationships. You can be the person that you want to be. And it's really about self-love for Librans, especially with that South node in your sign. And it's embracing some sort of playfulness around Pluto being in your fifth house. Playing with some, accessing your heart center and whatnot and things like that. So I feel like with Libra, you're obviously going to have some major life change happening in the next several weeks with the eclipses, and, changes in relationships, but mostly it's the relationship with yourself to really invest time in. And it may be around like your daily routines and your health habits, and really seeing what you can do with your health so that you can be prepared for the eclipses. And or maybe it's around your work routines or your work habits. Maybe you're working too much and you need to, chill out so that you can actually invest some time into really growing some friendships or reacquainting with some old friendships, however that shows up for you. And Libra, you got the 5 of fire. Fire is represented by dragons in this deck. Lots of signs are getting fire cards, probably because it's the year of the dragon. And this says competing goals, which would be that balance between work and health, and other friendships, relationships. Bothersome details. You don't really care about the details. You just want to live your life. But you kind of need to pay attention to the details in order to, fulfill goals and have good relationships and things like that. Conflict with others. Yeah, I feel like one of the reasons that Librans have conflict with others could be because like the indecisiveness or the people pleasing type of mentality and whatnot could be what is happening here, is that you tend to focus more on others. And so, but it's the thing about people pleasing is that you can never please everyone, right? But especially you don't please yourself. And so when you do that, you neglect yourself, and then you kind of get like defensive or like, spitey or spitey, or like prickly with your, how you interact with others because you've just neglected yourself. And so then you create conflict with others because you've neglected yourself to the point of trying to please everybody, and you end up pissing everybody off, including yourself. So I would say lean into this new moon in your 6th house in Pisces, and really feel into what you actually need, not only from others, but what you really need from yourself. What kind of balance do you need with yourself? Again, and then, like I said, new relationships coming up for y'all probably in early April with that solar eclipse. But you got to get through the full moon the full moon eclipse on the 25th. So prepare yourself by like settling down your own routines and your own love situation so that you are ready for new relationships. That's what I got for Libra. Scorpio, this is your forecast for the new moon in Pisces on March 10th, 2024. This is for Scorpio, Sun, and Rising. All right, Scorpio, this new moon is happening in your 5th house. And the full moon would have been in your 11th house. And so there is something coming up for you about like what your heart is centered around, and being playful. Like, 5th house is children, it's heart centeredness, it's childlike playfulness. And Scorpios are kind of stepping into a new era of like not being so dark, but being more playful, being more creative, but in a playful way. I don't know why I was thinking of Play-Doh and like playing with Play-Doh, or I don't know. Play-Doh is what's coming to mind. um, or maybe it's even like finger painting or something like that, or just doing things that your inner child loves. Maybe it's even interacting with children in a childcare setting, or even like your nieces, nephews, your own children, and whatnot. Keep in mind that Pluto is now in your 4th house of home and foundation and maternal things. And so there could be really like a lot of Scorpios maybe like stepping into motherhood, or maybe graduating from motherhood and stepping into grandmotherhood. Or it's, a whole new career in in helping children in some capacity. But I also think there's something here about healing your inner child, and, you know, being playful, having fun like an inner child. I always think of like going to the park and swinging on swings. Like that's one of my favorite things to do, even as an adult. It just caters to my inner child. But I think, you know, the eclipses coming up are going to be in your 12th house of karmic cycles, and 6th house of daily routines and work habits. And and you have also, of course, Jupiter and Uranus in your 7th house of relationships. And so I feel like new relationships are on the way for Scorpios. And it's a matter of how playful can you be? How much fun can you have? How much can you lean into your heart and, you know, draw on the walls? Not, maybe not literally, you probably piss off your landlord or your mom or your, you know, whoever you live with. But something to that effect where you kind of just like get crazy, have fun, throw paint everywhere. You know, have a, you know, go play in the sandbox and build a castle. Just whatever like fills your heart with freaking joy, in a creative, fun way. Pisces is about creativity. And so I think that's going to be really fun to see what Scorpios do with that. Scorpios, you got the 6 of fire, again, represented by the dragons. Everybody seems to be getting fire cards. I've shuffled the deck actually between signs and I'm still pulling fire cards. Um, Anywho, so this is victory. Good news is on its way. Yep, that would be that new relationships, public uh public recognition or awards. Yeah, like maybe you've been like just chipping away at something and you're finally getting like the recognition from an elder in your industry, or you're getting like a recognition from your boss, or, you know, you're getting like, um, you know, getting recognized for your creativity, or I don't know, something like that. But this also, like I said, does say new opportunities, good news, those sorts of things. And I do think there is some really cool things about to happen for, especially around like 420, April 20th, with that, the Uranus Jupiter conjunction. I feel like that could be like a pivotal point for some Scorpios, because that'll be in your 7th house. And so, yeah, I really love this for Scorpios. I think some Scorpios are, like I said, stepping into a whole new era, and really riding the wave of like practicing being heart-centered, creative, playful, and it's going to start to pay off, and it's going to bring in new relationships. And it doesn't mean that you're not dark and that you don't have dark humor, or that you don't have like that you're not like, dang it, what's the word? Oh, I can't think of it. But anyway, it doesn't mean that you don't have a dark side. It means that you are now willing to like be that dark person, but but also like step into a lighter version of that, so that you can, you know, heal. Scorpios are about transformation, right? Scorpios are here to transform, especially if you have heavy or lots of placements in Scorpio. You're here to transform. You're like your life is nonstop transformation. You're constantly changing. You're also constantly investigating and looking for answers, which is why you're always changing and transforming, because you like in one belief system and then you find out something about that and you got to move on to the next belief system or whatever. Like that's just an example. Anyway, so I feel really cool about where Scorpios are going, and I think it's going to be a really fun time to see what comes of Scorpios, what they get to bring to the table, in the near future. So see you next time. Sagittarius, this is your forecast for the new moon in Pisces on March 10th, 2024. This is for Sagittarius, Sun, and Rising. Sagittarius, here we go with your Pisces new moon. This is happening in your fourth house, which is all about foundation, maternal things, emotional intelligence, and whatnot. Could be a housing situation. Maybe you're getting a new home. And the Virgo full moon would have been in your 10th house, which is about career and whatnot, and really grounding yourself in your career. Maybe you've had to like make changes to your career because you're building a new home life situation. And whatnot. The upcoming eclipses are going to be in your 11th house and then in your 5th house, which could be around new community or letting go of an old community and then stepping into more of a heart-centered, heart-fulfilling type of place, which is really interesting because I think I know a Sag rising who is moving or has moved or something like that. But anyway, so, you know, and you got to also think like Pluto in your third is all about transforming how you communicate and transforming maybe how you communicate your emotions or communicate what you want at home or how you want home life to go. And so there's always, you know, that Pluto in the background doing its thing. And so, you know, and there's changes happening probably to your work life routines, work life balance, and whatnot. But I would say this is all about like a new home situation, but also like emotional intelligence, expressing your emotions, you know, perhaps something around motherhood, or mothering or your mother, or something like that. And so lots of different things happening for Sages with this Pisces new moon. Let's see what the cards have. You got two of Earth. Earth is represented by fairies in this deck. And it says, too much going on all at once and the need to make a decision and consider a more playful approach. I feel like you're overwhelmed with whatever's going on for you, whatever change is happening for you. And maybe you need to just go play and have fun, like play pickleball or play soccer or play video games or maybe work a puzzle. I don't know. I'm just throwing some stuff out there, but something to be more playful, be artistic, be creative. Because sometimes when especially if we do like some sort of like a meditative play type of situation, we actually bring about the choice that we need to make. Like it resonates with us, it flows into us, like what we need to actually do to make the decision. So if there is too much going on and you are feeling overwhelmed, maybe take a break, maybe go, you know, do something fun, have a little fun, and see what comes up, out, and through for you during this time. So it's like for Sag. Capricorn, this is your forecast for the new moon in Pisces on March 10th, 2024. This is for Capricorn, Sun, and Rising. All right, Capricorn, this Pisces new moon is happening in your third house of communication, mindset shifts, things like that. And that Virgo full moon would have been in your ninth house of higher education, long distance travel, shifting belief systems, things like that. And so I'm feeling like, you know, you're needing to communicate something. And of course, on the heels of that will be the eclipses, which will be in your just lost my train of thought, 10th and 4th, 10th house and 4th house. And so, you know, significant changes around your home life situation, for sure by April 8th. And or your emotional intelligence or your ability to express emotion. And that could be related to career and what you're doing with your career or not doing with your career or whatever. So that's something to kind of like be on the lookout for in the next several weeks or next several months. And so anyway, but to this new moon, It's about communication. It's about written communication. It's about your mindset. It's about kind of getting your shit together, maybe even and whatnot. And of course, you have Pluto in your second house, which is all about self-worth. And so, the transformation freight train is definitely not over for Capricorns, although Pluto is out of Capricorn for the most part. But I think that with it being in your second house, it's now kind of your value and how you value yourself, and do you value yourself enough to communicate what you need, how you need things to go, and whatnot. And so and you got the star card. Wow. Archangel Jophiel. And this card says happy times make positive, optimistic long-term plans on the right path. And so, yeah, I feel like if, part of what came up for you in the Virgo full moon was about pursuing higher education, or maybe becoming like a teacher or a guru or professor or whatever, and now you're communicating that, you're on the right path. You've had lots of transformative energy, obviously, over the last 15 years with Pluto. And now it's time to value yourself to the point, knowing your worth, and knowing who you are and knowing what you deserve, but also being humble to like learning more or expressing how you feel, expressing the emotions. Capricorns can be earthy and maybe a little less emotional. But I feel like, I don't know, I feel like something's about to flip upside down for a Capricorn, and that it's in a good way, because things are going to change, and it's kind of going to force you to, relocate. That could be what this is you could be relocating for a career by the time we get to eclipse season. So maybe this is like preparation for you to relocate onto the next Capricorn mountain climbing adventure. All right, Capricorn, see you next time. Aquarius, this is your forecast for the new moon in Pisces on March 10th, 2024. This is for Aquarius, Sun, and Rising. All right, Aquarius, this Pisces new moon is in your second house, which means that Virgo full moon was in your eighth house. And so things are coming up and out about your self-worth, your value, things like that. Pluto's in your first house, so you're definitely moving through some transformation. You're moving through rapid changes. You're starting to shine. Pisces, I think, it's kind of hard to have Pisces in your second house because it's so dreamy, and Aquarians are already a visionary. And so you can kind of like dream what you want like technology to look like. For some reason, Transformers just popped into my brain. I've been thinking about Transformers a lot with Pluto and Aquarius, but that was when it came up. But also keep in mind that the eclipses will be in your ninth and third house. And so you're kind of thinking about communicating, higher, shifting your belief systems. You might be even thinking about writing stories, writing, your story, and putting your story into words for others to consume in some way. And it doesn't necessarily mean writing. Maybe you're going to just like tell your story on YouTube or something. But I think like this Pisces new moon is really showing you that you are a valuable human being, that you are worthy of good things, that you are worthy of the good life, that you are worthy of having a good partner or a good merging, both financially and intimately. And it's I feel like this could be just an opening for Aquarians, I'm really feeling strongly like Aquarians are ready to shine in whatever way that looks like. Like, you know, it's now acceptable to be an Aquarius nerd. It's now acceptable to like want to be in technology and deal with technology. And so I feel like Aquarians, it's like time to, you know, step out of your shell. Y'all got the World, which is Archangel Michael. Always a good one. Um, a job well done. Uh, joy, contentment, and gratitude. The path forward, or the path toward enlightenment. Yeah, because Aquarians are suddenly realizing that they're a valuable contribution to society. And they're suddenly realizing that it's okay to be joyful about nerdy shit and the weird shit that they do. It's now gonna be acceptable to you know, compare life to science fiction. And I mean, I think science fiction is science nonfiction. Those creators had to know something, because we got too much like hybrid humanism going on. But I think like it's, you know, Aquarians are stepping into this now moment. Like it's okay to be who I am. It's okay to, if I'm into technology and nerdy and sci-fi, and you know, it's okay if I'm reading The Wheel of Time, or and embracing being in other worlds that are being created by authors, right? Like a, you know, if you follow like Star Trek or Star Wars, or you know, any I don't know a lot of them, I'm sorry, but like there's a lot of like other like, you know, we build like the Star Trek universe. Stephen King has his own universe, right, where there's like this whole world of beings, characters, events, incidents that happen in like the Stephen King universe. And then, you know, of course, The Wheel of Time, like it's huge, right? I'm talking about the books. I've never seen the show, have no interest. I'm always the book person, not particularly the show person, or movie person. But anyway, so I think Aquarians are realizing that it's okay, that they're as nerdy as nerdy can be, and that it's acceptable, and that they are valuable and worthy based on that. So that's what I got for Aquarius. Pisces, this is your forecast for the Pisces new moon on March 10th, 2024. This is for Pisces, sun, and rising. Happy birthday, Pisces. Pisces, welcome to your new moon in your first house, which means that the previous full moon in Virgo was about relationships in your seventh house. And so some releasing may have happened. Some people had to go bye-bye, some relationships, or even how you are about relationships may have had to go bye-bye. In this Pisces new moon heading into these eclipses is, you know, you choosing to be a different version of you, based on like, okay, I'm done with those relationships, I don't need to worry about that, so now I can just be my dreamy self, my fishy self. You also have Pluto in your 12th, which is bringing about like some karmic endings, and you know, definitely feeling Pisces might be in like total daydream land for the next 20 years with Pluto in their 12th house. um, and Aquarius, but also you've got eclipses coming up that will be in your second house and your eighth house, or I guess eighth house and then your second house. And so that could be about mergings, both financial and intimate. So you may be like, you know, up leveling a relationship or shifting how a relationship is going. You could be like getting into some financial contracts with a partner, with a colleague. And then the solar eclipse on the April 8th is in your second house, which is about your self-worth and your value, and things like that. And I think, you know, this could be like an opportunity for Pisces to just up the fuck level into like, you know, how freaking cool it is to be a Pisces, how freaking cool is it to be spiritual, to be, you know, to be dreamy, to, you know, all of these things. Like it's completely okay. Pisces, you know, it's just this moment in time where like we need someone to be kind of guidance without being completely illusional and freaking delusional. And that could be some Pisces who, you know, have been through some healing work and done all of the things and you know, are ready to kind of step up and in a new way. You got the Five of Earth. Earth is represented by fairies in this deck. Um, and this one says, uh, okay, fears surrounding money, accurate. The wisdom to the wisdom to accept help from others and uncertain self uncertain self-employment. Ooh, wow. Well, I would say this is where Pisces may have to admit defeat. I don't know. I hope not. That's not very nice. But I think this is kind of like a be aware of your, if you are self-employed, be aware that, you know, you could run into some sort of hiccups, or road or speed bumps or whatever. Maybe it's not so full steam ahead anymore, so it's time to readjust. Also, it's time to maybe admit to those closest to you that like, hey, this isn't going as well as it was, when, you know, however long ago or whatever. And so, you know, it's kind of like facing your fears, facing your fears and admitting to them, to those closest to you. So not what I expected to see for Pisces, but that's life. And you do have eclipses coming up in your 8th and 2nd house. And that's all about like financial merging. That's all about taxes, financial contracts, and, you know, your self-worth and your value. And so I don't know that this is a time to kind of like, you know, full steam ahead with whatever business opportunity. I think this is a renegotiation and reexamination to ensure that you're going in the direction that you want. So that was kind of unexpected. All right, Pisces, thank you so much. I'll see you next time.